You're looking at the senator who introduced the most comprehensive climate change legislation in the history of the United States Senate. Now, I hope that Secretary Clinton would join me, if we are serious about climate change, about imposing a tax on carbon on the fossil fuel industry and making massive investments in energy efficiency and sustainable energy.
On the night of the attacks in Benghazi, you sent an email to your daughter, Chelsea, saying that al-Qaeda-like group was responsible for the killing of the Americans.
We lost 3,000 people on 9/11. We lost Americans serving in embassies in Tanzania and Kenya when my husband was president. We lost over 250 Americans, both military and civilian, when Ronald Reagan was president in Beirut. And at no other time of those tragedies were they politicized. Instead, talking about a very tall wall, right? A beautiful tall wall, the most beautiful tall wall, better than the Great Wall of China.
$1,000. That means that that speech must have been an extraordinarily wonderful speech.
So does this mean that you would not think she would have to disclose?
I would think that a speech so great that you got paid so much money for, you would like to share it with the American people. So I think she should. When we talk about immigration, the Secretary will remember that one of the great tragedies, human tragedies of recent years, is children came from Honduras, where there's probably more violence than almost any place in this country, and they came into this country. And I said, welcome those children into this country. Secretary Clinton said, send them back.
Senator Sanders is always criticizing the two recent Democratic presidents, President Clinton and President Obama. And that's fine, but I wish he would criticize and join me in criticizing George W. Bush, who I think wrecked the economy and created the conditions for the Great Recession.
I gather Secretary Clinton hasn't listened to too many of my speeches or followed my work in the Congress, because very few people stood up to George W. Bush, whether it was the war in Iraq or any other of his policies.
I did not send or receive any emails marked classified at the time. What you're talking about is retroactive classification.
The questions were, if you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question.
Senator